Welcome Voyagers! Today we are taking you through our Roma Forum bridal look, starting off strong with our corset piece. You see me putting it underneath so I can really see what pattern is actually going to be where on the corset, because that is going to be vital. So we're just tracing it and we're going to cut it out. I'm so excited for this look. It's really inspired by Rome, Italy. I traveled there with my sister, and funny enough, my sister wore this look in the show. So it was just such a full circle moment, and I really thought it was so special. We are cutting out the corset layer one more time so that it can be double lined, of course. That's really important when you're working with boning in any corset to have a lining there, and I was lucky enough to have enough fabric to be able to do it with this specific fabric as well. Additionally, I will be stitching the boning onto one side and not the other. I wasn't sure how I wanted this to turn out, if I wanted the stitching of the boning to be shown or not, specifically because of the detailing we will be putting on at the end. So it was really nice to have that option once it was fully made. Here I'm going in and measuring where I want my boning to sit in the fabric, especially if we choose the stitching to be seen. This is super important to make sure everything looks in line with each other, especially because I have boning mirroring each other. As you can see here, the boning is in its casing, stitched onto one side of the fabric, looking beautiful from the front, might I add. I'm really enjoying that look. Now we're just going in with that next layer of our corset pattern, same sides facing, to stitch that all together so that once we turn it inside out, our casing, our boning, everything is inside nice and neat and absolutely nothing is popping through. Here she is, so beautiful. You can definitely clearly see the difference between this side and the next side with the stitching on it. We did end up using the side with the stitching because it worked much better with our application we put on it later. Here is where we work in our grommets. We chose gold because it went beautifully with the look we were trying to achieve. It's giving Juliette and Rome. Romeo and Juliet, if you will. It's so beautiful. But basically, you just want to line up the grommets and mark them where you want. Since we already did the other side, we are putting the back sides of the corset right next to each other so that we know they'll look in line with each other. Something super important with grommets is you don't want to cut a super big hole in the fabric to then put them in. You want them to sort of mold around the fabric so they sit snug and they don't wobble and eventually come loose and fall out. So I cut the smallest hole and then I just slowly stretch the fabric over the grommet as much as I can. Of course, cutting where need be, but as little as possible. This tool is always perfection. Make sure you're putting the thing that comes with it underneath it so that you're not damaging your grommets, but you just hammer those in. Since we had our model's measurements, we were able to drape the skirt to the mannequin. I really enjoyed having that pleated side look to come into a swoop bottom, almost cowl neck, but on a skirt. And then I just hand stitched my drapes. This is my favorite part. So I was really nervous about this. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but what I ended up doing was getting a mold and then using hot glue guns to insert the wax into and then pour it through the hot glue gun into the mold, let it harden, take it off, and glue it to the corset. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it work so that there was one cohesive column down the whole piece of the boning. That's in my initial sketch what it looked like. However, this actually worked out so much better than I could have imagined. I lined them up and I just went row by row using the top of the column piece as a decoration throughout. So I really enjoyed this look. Instead of just having one straight column, it added some depth and visual aesthetic to the corset itself and gave it more to look at. And here's our beautiful model, my sister Julia, looking like the modern day Juliette in the Roma Forum look.